नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धे भवतु मे सदा वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् हरि ओम. Yes. Can someone recollect what is it that we have seen last? We found the link and can quickly move ahead on the 16th shloka of the 5th adhyaya. Yes, Ji. Hari Om. Anybody? Hari Om, Renuji? Yeah.
Are you clear? Uh, so we started off yesterday with when Arjuna was asking Lord Krishna, that you're asking me to surrender to the divine, and on the other hand, you're asking me to uh, face these consequences. I have to wage war against the
Action. Perform action in
yes.
liberated state or something like that.
So Lord Krishna then says that uh, you have to be in the union with divine, and then you have to carry out the work. That is, he was trying to say that renunciation and liberated actions are not different. You don't have to renounce anything. Just you have to be in constant remembrance. You have to be in union with the divine, and you have to carry your work so that you do not gather the impressions or the samskaras. The fruit of action is not yours. That is of the Lord. You have to carry your work. What I understood.
Ji,
And
ji.
he gave the definition of a sannyasi also, that a sannyasi is one who has neither desire nor any dislike of anything. He is beyond the pulse
Hatred.
of any senses. He has mastered all his senses. Like a lotus leaf, he is in this world. He does his work, and he is just united from within.
Yes.
And at the last, you mentioned what is papa and what is punya. How can we identify those actions which lead you towards the spiritual path? That those actions are punya, and those actions which just pull you away from the spiritual path are papa.
Okay. Yes, but one thing, Renuji, one question comes in this is that there are so many spiritual paths, isn't it? So
Yes,
how do we realize which is taking us to the spiritual path and which is not?
right.
How does one identify that?
For a person who doesn't know what is the spiritual path, for him or her, I can explain that if you do anything and your heart is in sync, it doesn't give you an extra beat.
Okay.
Means that action of mine,
Acha. But poise, samatha remains inside. Is it?
yes, that is a samatha, balance inside. Suppose
Okay.
something and my heart starts beating very fast, that is an indication that I have to stop, pause, and then I have to think over my action and then execute.
All right. So palpitations are actually an indication here. Yeah, my heart is palpitating a little more right now. So that
Yes,
means I'm
Krishna
not.
Bhagwan, yes, Krishna Bhagwan said that he said to Arjuna, where that you look me into your heart. I am there with
Okay.
everyone. So when I see the heartbeat is an indication
All
that
right. Wonderful. All right. Ji. Thank you very much, Ranjit. That was a beautiful example. Yes, so Krishna talked about this. And one more interesting way of is they say Vyaktitva ka vikas. Is your personality blossoming? Are you becoming better? These are all great lakshanas that you are on the right path. What you wear, are you better than what you were before? Is your personality blossoming? Whatever faculties you are already good at, are they becoming more fine? These are all outward indicators of you're walking ahead on the right path. So anything that is taking you ahead is what we can call a punya, and anything that is preventing your growth ahead, that can become a pap against your swadharma only. So that was true, and thank you, Renuji. And if we see, Krishna says even a grihastha can reach that same stage of a great sannyasi also. That was something which Krishna really shared, which was interesting because sannyasis do a lot of tapa. Krishna says if you are doing liberated action, you can become what we have examples of, Raja Janaka also. And Sri Aurobindo said it's difficult to identify a Raja Janaka because he's not having any of the outward tokens of a sannyasi, isn't it? The outward garb is not that of a sannyasi, which is traditionally associated with a sannyasi. And that is why even Narada had got fooled. The great Muni, who was in lay all the time with the divine, he was in that divine union. Anybody is having audio issues? Renuji was indicating, is everybody able to hear me? Yeah, all right, fine. So let us continue. That was one thing. And another aspect which we saw was that as we go ahead, as Krishna says, and one beautiful example Dr. Atulji also gave for in the medical profession also, because we were discussing if it's possible in all professions, becoming one with the divine and yet performing an action. How does a doctor treat the patient? And Dr. Atulji gave beautiful example. I treat, he cures. Chaitanya ji spoke about it from the programming perspective. When I'm connected with the divine, I will be able to identify the bugs in the code much more easily. Same way, if I'm connected with the divine, when I'm cooking, the food will become even more, what we can say, tasty probably or healthy also. They say food can become medicine also. So that is how it happens. Ma Annapurna's blessing, his presence. Connected with the divine while gardening, your garden is going to blossom with flowers. Ma Lakshmi's presence, you will understand by the prosperity in your garden also. So, in all moments, Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna, ki, see, do not think of this as a distinction or a divide. Become one. And he said, this feeling that I am doing, I am great, I cured the patient. I don't think a doctor should have that in their head because a little bit ahankar will come in. I cured, I cured. A friend of mine who's actually like a younger sister of mine, she was diagnosed by the doctor that you have 4 months to live. Now, the truth is nobody can fully determine, isn't it? Probably 4 months is a good estimate. All right. But you say you have only four. And then she goes and she is heartless, heartbroken, we can say, and wants to search for some options. So she goes and asks another doctor, and the doctor says, if this happens, you have scope. Again, he's trying to show hope. And when she goes and tells, like a young child goes and tells the doctor that, see, he has told me there is some hope. His response is, so you are going to believe a junior doctor over my diagnosis. Again, Ahankar that I alone can cure. And strangely, in 1 year down the line, she's fully fine and she's going ahead in life also. That prophecy has been, you know, already cancelled or negated. So this aspect of when that doership comes in, it's a problem. It creates dvesha, it creates all other feelings and relationship also. It is about the other person. If you're able to see, you will also experience the ananda. You will see the opposite perspective also. And when both see each other, that is the most beautiful relationship that is possible. Krishna just says this, but this feeling of ahankar comes in because of Prakriti. We have been introduced to Prakriti, but not explained in detail. This Prakriti is creating the gunas. We have already seen the gunas creating trouble, especially one guna, which is the Rajoguna. Kama esha, Krodha esha, Rajoguna Samudbhava. So one of these desire and anger is coming out of Rajoguna. Let us see how we deal with the gunas afterwards. But again, Krishna is saying it's not your fault. You and I will have ahankar all the time. Why? Because it is a part of our prakriti. Ahankar will come in. What will distinguish us is how we treat the ahankar, how we are going to allow ourselves to be either carried away by the ahankar or allow ourselves to be what we call jitendra, overcoming the rights, action reaction. A yogi recognizes that he is not in charge of the acts of listening, seeing, speaking, or anything because he says, my indriyas are reacting to external stimuli. I am something which is more. I am more, as we saw the Atma Shatakam also. That Mano Buddhya Hankara Chittani Nam न च श्रोत्रजिह्वे न च घ्राणनेत्रे न तेजो न vayu चिदानंद रूपः शिवोहम शिवोहम. I'm not my eyes, I'm not my ears. If I don't have eyesight tomorrow, does not mean I will cease to exist. I am something more. I am not my outer ID. I work for this organization, XYZ. That means I am this head of this organization. What are you? I am the head of the organization. But tomorrow organization removes you or you resign from the organization. Does that mean you have ceased to exist? Has your identity disappeared? No, it is not. You always were before also joining it, after also. That is one more extension of your personality. That is something we must understand. Krishna goes on. This we go to the 16th shloka, where again Krishna says people are misled because of the cloak of ignorance. This is what they call Maya. You don't realize it, but the ignorance takes you away. Not knowing is a big problem, isn't it? But you will not know it unless you know that you don't know. That's what is we can say a very dangerous aspect of ignorance. Only knowledge can throw away ignorance, and until knowledge comes, you are going to remain in that ignorance only. It's like somebody who is trapped in a cage. He can become free. When can a person who is trapped in a cage become free? Anybody? A simple question. Someone who is trapped in a cage, when can he become free or she become free or strive for freedom? When? When is it possible? Yes,
When,
Chaitanya ji?
yeah, when he or she understands that there is something outside that cage also. I mean,
Okay. All right. Chaitanya ji sees when there is something outside of the cage. You understand that. Manisha ji, you were adding something? Yes, ma'am.
When he wants to be free
Ah, when he
and
wants to be free. Okay. Yes, ji. And
aspires attempts to be free, and he
ah,
has there
yes.
has to be a will first, a desire first.
One aspiration we can say, isn't it? He
Yes.
aspires for freedom and that aspiration must be worked on. But what if you are convinced it's not a cage? Here, it's not a cage at all. It's so comfortable. It is so wonderful. Will you ever try to be free? No. That is the problem of ignorance. It is the same thing. Ignorance is trying to tell you again and again, no, there is nothing like that outside of what you already know. And so you never try to seek. That is why we say seek, seek knowledge, surrender to the Aradhya, surrender to the Guru, surrender to somebody. Go, learn. Only then you will understand. But the cloak of ignorance prevents a person from realization, and so many are misled. That is why they are walking on the wrong path. Again, the worst people also, Sant Jnaneshwar said, Duritanche timira jao. Let the timir or the darkness of the wrongdoer disappear. Then that wrongdoer will cease to do anything wrong. Sometimes for a wrongdoer, realization is the greatest repentance. The moment he realizes, that's it. What did I do? What did I do? I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. This realization helped Ratnakar become Rishi Valmiki, isn't it? What a transformation. That's how powerful knowledge is, that how powerful realization is. Krishna goes on, Jnanena tu tadajnanam yesham nashitam atmanaha tesham adityavat jnanam prakashayati tatparam. This knowledge is described like a brilliant sun that is rising. Probably you can see this sun in the early stages, what they call Balasurya. But after it has risen, it's too bright that you cannot even look at it. That is the power of knowledge. For those who by the self's knowledge are liberated, ignorance's darkness within them is verily annihilated. The light of knowledge in all these beings glows just like the immortal sun, dispelling night shadows. So those realized ones, they become beacons, beacons of light. Around them, that light, it just glows and people receive that teja. And Krishna says further what they do. Tad buddhayastadaatmanas tannishthasthatparayanaha gacchantya punaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmasha. On that self, they meditate, channeling their intellect, taking refuge on the self, they consciously reflect. Cleansed of their sins by the purifying waters of light, towards the destination of no return, their souls take flight. Krishna says they go towards that one destination. It's actually a symbolic aspect here where getting cleansed by the pavitra waters of light means the knowledge of light purifies such a person. And what does this person do to receive the light? He is channeling on the self and he is meditating. So, two aspects are here. Krishna is talking about the importance of meditation here, and second, about a destination of no return, na punaravrittim, from where you will not come back again. Meditation is a key, isn't it? How many of us feel that meditation is useful? Meditation is required in our everyday lives. Yes, anybody? Why is it required? If you say just anyone can tell me with a practical outlook on why it can help you personally, meditation. Yes, Chaitanya ji.
Yeah, I think for whatever small time I had done it, it helped me a little bit. I mean, it helped me to focus and keep my mind calm.
Any
Uh,
examples, sir? Any example?
Okay, yeah. So normally, in the meetings or whatever we in the works that we had done,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we used to discuss things, and many times, everyone used to be so convinced with their ideas that it was not. I mean, even I was not in a condition where I could, properly understand and then reciprocate. And there was always this you can say I was always thinking about, yes, no, no, I'm the right thing, I'm doing the right thing, I'm saying
Okay.
the right thing, and that emotion was always there. So when and that also could lead to the issues when you are actually discussing in the group, because some people might feel that, okay, this person is not listening to me. So when I started doing this, it actually helped me to calm down and then understand, and then reciprocate, rather than going just trying to convince the other person that it is my idea is right one.
All right, Chaitanya ji. That's such a wonderful thing. This is something I think I should also follow and everybody else also. So we have to understand that even now, Chaitanya ji says meditation has helped him more conducive even in his work front. Conducive to reception of opposite views, conducive to reception of other points. That is where we are going to learn, isn't it? When we hear things which are different. I like this, right? But should I attach to only what I like and ignore what I don't like? No, if I have to rise above what I like and dislike, I'll have to understand to take things with a bit, what we call a pinch of salt, with a pinch of pepper. Take it, it's all right. May not be my favorite, but I can take it. So this is aspect. And these yogis, they're actually focusing on the supreme divine. How are they focusing on? We will see later. But meditation is being advocated. They focus on the self. And then it is that realization. First, realization outside of the divine everywhere, and then the realization in the self. That is what the Isha Upanishad talks about. Soham asmi. स्वेन स्वस्मिन् स्वयं ब्रह्म स्वे महिम्नि स्वानुभूतं सत्यं ज्ञानधनं प्राप्तं परमपदम. This is the greatest wealth of knowledge, the realization. And that realization comes. Yes, Manisha ji was adding something. Yes, ji. Yeah.
Sir, I have a question. What is the
Yes.
point of
Hmm.
no destination of no return? What is the
Yeah.
meaning of this?
Yes, I was just coming to that. Yes. So destination of no return, in a sense, once you go to that place, you're not going to come back. Sant Jnaneshwar had also talked about Achi Nema Ata Na Fire Maghari. Now I will not go back. I have got my mission. I have got this direction. I am going to go in this direction only. For somebody who has got a realization of what is wrong, will that person want to go to that place again? Ki chalo, I am doing wrong. And I have realized it. This is wrong. This is creating so much trouble to me. You will never want to go there once you get the realization. But until you get the realization, you will keep going there. So this is about a consciousness. You go to that consciousness. It's like the inside of the cage. The bird was earlier satisfied with morsels that it was being fed. But one day the bird in the cage sees, ki, oh, look at that through the window. Look, there are others like me when they are flying. They are flying in the sky, and he decides, ki, no, I am not going to be fed morsels and be at the mercy and pity of somebody else. Many times we depend on others emotionally, physically, mentally, or economically. All these factors we make ourselves, bind ourselves in dependence without realizing it. But when we realize ki chalo, I am going to become independent. I too am a Rajahamsa. I don't need to be fed like this. And Manas Sarovar is my house. My home is there. I will also take that leap. I will also take that flight. And when it goes to Manas Sarovar, it will have its own lotus seeds and not morsels thrown away. And so somebody who has reached that state of consciousness, will that person want to go again there? No. That is a destination of no return where you are not wanting to lower your consciousness again. Somebody who has tasted what is the ananda of going into deep meditation, such a person will say, I don't need any artificial inducements to take me to a different state. I'll say, I don't need any alcohol, I don't need drugs, I don't need anything else when I can experience naturally an ananda which is so much greater and without any side effects also. I'll not go on that path. That realization comes, and that is the destination of no return, we can call it, Manisha ji. So let us continue. Hari Om. So Vidya, Vinaya, and what happens then? Then there is a Samatvam Yoga Uchyate, or balance or oneness. That oneness is realized. What is auspicious, what is inauspicious? That has already been transcended. Now we were going to have a book release for one beautiful book on Divine Krishna only. Somebody has written a book of her spiritual experiences. And only it is important to select the time. She was also aware of the Kala and everything. But now looking at all the moments, that period that we got was an auspicious period, but not too auspicious. It was having a Rahu Kala. And we were discussing now what is it, because that particular venue, nowhere else we were finding. And this was very convenient. After so many factors were being considered, there was no other option. What do you do then? Because they are bhaktas, they have decided, this is Krishna. Let us offer to Krishna. Please take care, full surrender, with full sincerity. Please tide over this wrong time also. Please tide over this wrong time. Please help, because this is not out of laziness or out of ignorance that a person is say, dismissing this moment, because we are not dismissing moments being auspicious and inauspicious. But if the divine wish, there was no selfish, the simple aspect in the discussion, since all were, worshippers of the divine, there's no swartha in this, no personal swartha of anybody in this. So let us go ahead. So we did Swaha, offered to the divine. Can we say, Krishna, you cannot function now because the Kala is not auspicious for you? For the Kala Purusha, which Kala is inauspicious? If the divine wishes, and we did have our indications. So we are yet to see, the event is yet to take place. But the time has been decided. I will let you know once how that event goes. But the aspect is that this divine has transcended what is auspicious, what is inauspicious, because that is the realization that is required. This oneness, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate, it is too much underestimated. Too much this is underestimated, this aspect of samatha. Many times we feel we are right in hating the wrongdoer, because they say if you are taught to love the wrongdoer, you are going to become oppressed and weak. That's not the case. Sanatan Dharma did not make us weak at all. Sanatan Dharma gave us the strength to face even your loved ones, but with the same nyaya, with the same justice. No division of people who identify with my philosophy or people who don't identify with my philosophy. The same nyaya, and that nyaya is with Rutam, without attachment, drenched in the consciousness of truth only. Because when you are in that consciousness of truth, oneness happens everywhere. Like we saw Vyadha Gita, what was that? The Gita taught by the butcher, isn't it? And who gave the higher knowledge? Compared to the tapasvi, it was the Grihini who was saying, I am not a bird that you can burn with your Tantra Siddhi. I am doing my duties. I will attend to you with all love and respect. So this is that samatha bhav which Krishna talks about in the next shloka. He says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Those whose eyes are illumined with that knowledge's insight, All living ones appear equivalent and identical to their sight. From the learned spiritual seeker to the elephant or the cow, from the dog to the consumers of lower animals like the sow. This Samadarshana, oneness, this is something which has to be realized. And Krishna says, once the eyes have opened, once that illumination of the divine has come in, oneness is visible in every place. All appear one. All in the sense, even the learned spiritual seeker or the learned one, this Adhyatmic sadhak, the great upasak, he may have so many, followers. So many people will be after that person for receiving the wisdom. You are able to understand that light in that person and respect that individual also. But also, you are able to see the light in a gaja, in an elephant, or even a cow, or even a dog, or the consumers of lower animals also. Means that dvesha inside has disappeared and samatha is visible. That same divine is everywhere. As we have, has anybody heard of this? Jiddu Krishnamurti's dialogue about God. God and dog are one, he said. They're spelled backwards. Dog spelled backwards is God. Now, when people get insulted, what is this? How can you talk? But the question is about that dvesha. Divine is functioning through all. Recognize that. And this shloka actually talks about something, seeing the oneness. Because many times what happens is we get very attracted with what appears on the outside. This shloka asks us to see little bit beyond. Sometimes the attraction is negative also. I know of a person who got very impressed with a person wearing a particular vesha that she immediately wrote a check and donated something to that person. And then after donating, began to wonder, what was this? Yeah, I don't really give such checks. Did I get impressed and in a state of emotion? This person did something and impressed me, and it was something like a, how we say control or hypnosis, isn't it? Something like that. That was the personality. But a yogi is not going to get hypnotized, not by favorable deeds, not by favorable actions, not by favorable words, not even by the favorable moments or individuals. He's able to see with oneness. Brahmano Gavi Hastini, all animal or human beings, that oneness is able to see. Krishna goes on, he says, Ehaiva Tairjitaha Sargo Yesham Samye Sthitam Manaha Nirdosham Hi Samam Brahma Tasmad Brahmani Te Sthitaha. They are the champions. Ehaiva. Krishna is talking about a terrestrial realization in this birth itself. Which other birth are you looking at? No, I will get moksha after 50,000 births or after 50 births. Why cannot it be after 50 minutes? Why do we have to hope for another birth, not in this lifetime? It is this lifetime that we have to seek. Terrestrial realization, a realization when we are a part of this Srishti, not in the Swarga Loka, I want to receive this or I want something else in another Loka. Ehaiva, here itself, these are the champions. Who? Those who have overcome these Dvandvas, these Bheda, and they are able to see one. And one of the criteria for overcoming this is the control of the Indriyas as well. They are the champions here in this world itself. For with a poised mind, they have united with their self. Their faultless mind experiences the Brahma's oneness, and they breathe and dwell in Brahma's consciousness, what we call the consciousness of the Brahma. We've seen a shloka, Brahmarpanam Brahmavir Brahmagnav Brahmana Hutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Everything, all is Brahman. Jagadapi Brahma Satyam Namithya is what Sri Aurobindo has said in his Upanishad. This Brahman everywhere, at every place, that is something which is important to be realized. A small story of there was a man who was entering a village riding a donkey and eating a bread. So one great Pandit looked at him and two other people there who were probably the Shastriya along with the some of the senior people in the village, they looked at that person and started laughing loudly. One young man pointed his finger at that person and started laughing loudly. Now, it is actually comical to watch somebody on a donkey and, eating a piece of bread like that. And it looked very funny, and so they burst out laughing. Now, this person started laughing back at all of them. He started laughing out even loudly, so much that their laughter stopped. And the Brahman was surprised. He said, "Why are you laughing at us? We have a valid reason for laughing at you because of the appearance that you have done." He just responded this way. He said, "Brahma is sitting on Brahma and is eating Brahma. So I was laughing because I wanted to ask, hey Brahma, why are you laughing?" Means he's able to see oneness everywhere. That oneness has been realized, and suddenly they realize this is not a fool. What we were thinking of, he's actually an awakened person. I can understand that. That is what everybody realized. And this is the oneness that Krishna is talking about. He is able to see everywhere because he is hovering in that consciousness. He's able to understand. There was one Venugopalji who was a very beautiful sadhak of Krishna and a wonderful English teacher, a retired teacher. He would send us very beautiful commentaries. One day he kicked his leg actually hit some object and he hurt himself very badly. Now, at a senior age, when you hurt yourself, it's actually a big problem. It's a big headache. But he smiled and he just today the Joker has played a game with me. That is what he said. Now in our entire delight group, nobody dares to say anything to Krishna, but he was able to say that because his what we can say connect with Krishna was like that, and we had no adhikar to say don't call him. Nobody else dared to say that, but he would call Krishna as this only. He would call him Joker. But always that in the most painful moment also he was able to smile. And interestingly, one of his last messages to everybody before passing away was also Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati. He says, who can see me everywhere? I will not be lost. To me, if Krishna has given the promise, that person will not be lost to me. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati. And his audio is actually very moving, where he's telling so practically a beautiful commentary. He himself was an expert in the Gita shlokas. He could narrate beautiful commentaries, but he was just a good listener and he would keep sharing, and always that humor, always, despite he said, I do not know how long my body will hold because of my illness, but as long as it is, he is going to experience that joy. How beautiful it was that this person is able to tide all the difficult moments and yet realize the divine. That is something which is very rare. But Krishna says these people who have reached that state, they can experience that oneness. Krishna goes on, he says, Na prarishet priyam prapya, no dvijet prapya cha priyam, sthira buddhi rasammudho, brahmavit brahmani stita. He rejoices not when his needs are fulfilled, nor grieves over the wants that are unfulfilled. With the clarity of mind, free from every distress, the awakened one resides in the eternal Brahma's oneness. He is not rejoicing when his needs are fulfilled, nor is he grieving when they are unfulfilled. With a mind that is free from every distress, this awakened one resides in the oneness of the Brahma. That Brahmic oneness is experienced by this individual. One small example for this is my Guruji's only experience I can share. He had a young student from the ashram who was a manager in his company. And for so many years he worked, and everybody, related them as a duo. The Shishya and the teacher, they are together only. And more than Shishya and there's a Ram Lakhan ki jodi, two friends like that. That was how it was described. And for so many years, and many said the personality of the student changed so much, so great that outside now he's become a big lion, so different from what he was before. But suddenly one day he left. He said, I am leaving, and he left. It was so much that one senior sadhika from the ashram, she came to meet Damleji in the rain. I wanted to see how you are, how is everything. Damleji was smiling and he did not say anything. And afterwards, one more very senior sadhak asked, how are you dealing with this? That time he gave a beautiful one response. He said, भगवान ने मुझे बिन मांगे दिया और बिन बताए ले लिया. Means I did not ask and I got it. It was something which was very nice. And just because I had not asked and he gave, he has the right to take it also without telling me or asking me. It is something like that. A yogi is not rejoicing just when your needs are fulfilled. He's in that state of samatha. And when needs are not fulfilled, also the samatha remains. The distress is not there. And only then will you have the clarity or what we call sat, asat, vivek, buddhi, what is right, what is wrong. Otherwise, emotions will destroy this. It is like going on a treasure hunt with a wrong compass. Absolutely no use. Your directions are going to get changed. So we need to have that clarity. Yes, things are going well. Things are going in a favorable way. Don't rejoice. Many times in business, what happens? Profits are more immediately, more investments are done in the state of this market is going to go this way only. Of course, you have to aspire to be successful. But at that time, where is the samatha? If the samatha is lost, 1 year you are in great profit, next you are just praying to even have break even in the next financial year. But that also does not work because that balance is not, you are not aware, you are not able to take the right decisions. That is not what Krishna is talking about. He goes on further, he says, Bahya sparsheshva saktatma vindatyatmani yat sukham sa brahma yoga yuktatma sukham akshayam ashnute. He who is not touched by sensations external enjoys the blissful realization of the Supreme Self, eternal. He who has united with the Supreme Self, the Brahman, he enjoys the boundless bliss of union with the soul, his Atman. Akshaya Sukham, a Sukha which will not become Shaya, that Ananda which is not going to deteriorate, that which is going to remain. That is the Ananda, that is the blessing of that seeker of the Brahman. Krishna goes on further, he says, ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःख योनयः एव ते आद्यन्तवन्तः कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधः. From the sensual means, all the enjoyments that come portend towards gloom, and only sorrow they become. For they are fleeting with a finite beginning and end. O Arjuna, they attract not the wise, who clearly comprehend. So Krishna says this. These anandas, what we feel, sometimes we think it is ananda, whatever desires we try to seek, because we feel we are getting ananda only, isn't it? Most of the people who go after their desires, because they want it, they feel I will receive that ananda. But the ananda does not come, because what is ananda? Ananda is different from happiness, isn't it? Can someone tell me the difference between happiness and ananda? Anybody?
Happiness is temporary.
Okay.
Suppose I
Yes.
crave for ice cream, or I'm
Ha,
not, and I get that
summer
ice cream.
season. Summer
Yes,
season.
summer
Yes.
season. And after having that ice cream, again the same state is there.
Yes. And summer
Once I,
has not changed.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Ananda
And it's,
is whether it is summer or winter. The
yes, that state of what we can
explain
say.
in words. Yes, that state is there. That state.
There's we saw a shloka, I think, in the Gita. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna dukkhada. Means whether it is cold or whether it is hot, in what we can say, happy moments or in sorrow moments. But that balance, keep calm. This will pass, this too shall pass. This strength comes in, the experience to take that and bear it. That is the balance. And Ananda is that, as rightly said by Renuji. Like everybody will feel like eating ice cream, or even say, a lot of people in the hot sun, they take a lot of sugarcane juice because it's good. It's good for the body, it's good for the tongue. But then now doctors are saying it's not so good for the body also. Immediately when you are dehydrated, if you're taking sugarcane juice, what's going to happen? More water is consumed for breaking it down. It becomes difficult. So if you're hydrated well, you can have it. It's nutrients and everything. But many times by the taste and the instantaneous moment of what we experience of the senses that we get, we do a lot of things because of it. But a yogi understands and he says, no, I will not run after this, not after my senses. Many times our desires, which are something which is very important to us, ceases to remain important to us after a while. Have we experienced this? When we are young, we have some dreams. This is so important. Nothing else is more important than this. I want this person to acknowledge me. This is a very common aspect which people have, whoever that person may be. That becomes the entire, fulcrum of the person's life, and entire aspect of every action is driven behind that only. But then after a while, suddenly I don't need any acknowledgement from anybody else. I'm not depending on that. That is not my entire purpose of existence. That I think it's like as if suddenly the world has changed. But the individual is the same individual only. Only what was desired that time is no more desired right now. Many times people say, God, give me promotion, give me transfer, give me transfer. Sometimes people do they even do a tantric yajna for let this boss get the idea of transfer and transfer me immediately. And if they are Siddha yogis, they will get that transfer also. And after that, then they say, oh, why did I get this transfer? Give me one more place. This place is not so good as I imagined. Because we are not sure when we are running after our senses. Our senses have a finite beginning and there. That is why they have their finite ends also. Our indriyas, how much can I sense? Say even food. Say I am very attached to sweet food. I eat a lot of sweet food and suddenly one day I get diagnosed with diabetes. What's going to happen? I'll have to now either take a choice whether I want to survive or I want to run after my desires only. But running after desire will reduce my survival rate, isn't it? Just going after sweets only, even though body cannot process it. So this is having an end. This is having an end. All sensual, what we can say, happiness and moments, they are fleeting. They will pass. Our young Nachiketas was told by Yama, because the beautiful story of Kathopanishad is there. The dialogue between Nachiketas and Yama is as beautiful as the Gita between Krishna and Arjuna. So he says, I want to get that secret which is there in the heavens, because of which people don't die. Where Yama's strength is not there. What is it that the people in the heavens know? Give me that knowledge, is what a young boy asks. And so Yama says, Nachiketas, leave that knowledge aside. I will give you another boon, an extra one, because you have come all this way. Your yoga bala, your sincerity, everything is appreciated. I will give you another boon. Don't ask me that. I will ensure that you have an extremely long life, so long that nobody has ever lived that much. But Nachiketas doesn't look like he's moved, so Yama keeps adding on. He adds more and more desired objects. He says, next 10 generations of yours will live full lifespan. He says next to that young boy, he says, you will have land, vast and vast tracts of land. Wherever your eyes fall, that place is yours. That much beyond that, also beyond your eyesight, you will have you will have that much land under your command. Still Nachiketas is not moved. And he says, young man, my young boy, when you grow up and to be a young man, a lot of young men want wonderful partners. You will get the partner which everybody will be jealous of. You will find such wonderful partners. This is what Yama is trying to say to Nachiketas. Now, any ordinary person would have felt ki, no, wow, this is it. What more? मेरी तो life बन गई, and let me go after it. But Nachiketas says, no, Yama, no, this is not what I want. He says, what will happen afterwards? What is going to happen in the end? He asks Yama only. Are you not going to come and show your face and take away everything that is mine? I do not want something which is temporary. I have come this far. I have come to the doors of death. I will not get carried away by that now. He says, I would rather choose that which is the greatest, or I choose nothing. That is what he says. And then it was a test of Yama. Yama also laughs and says, it is a rare opportunity to have such a listener also for me, and I shall pass this secret to you. You have chosen what is Shreyas over what is Preyas, because Preyas is that which is going to end. Preyas is that which is your desires, which is going to lead to a finite end. And then the story of Kathopanishad is there. The knowledge is received. That knowledge is called Nachiketa Agni, as a blessing He names it after Nachiketa. So let us continue. Krishna goes on. He says, so the wise understand. So the wise always choose what is Shreyas over what is Preyas. What is right over what is desirable. What is needed more than what is my favorite or what I like. I should do what I need. Sometimes you will have to learn to love what you do and not only do what you love. That's a very difficult thing to do. But sometimes life does teach us that ultimately, isn't it? If with maturity and life experience, we automatically go towards that path. But Gita is there to ensure you don't have to directly face. Means I was stupid because one bhaiya told me put your hand in the fire and I put it and I burnt my fingers. My sister was wise. She didn't have to burn her fingers like me to understand fire burns. So something like that we can learn sometimes from the Gita. We don't have to experience the shock to get that knowledge. Because nature sometimes it's like you do it or you'll be forced to do it. And when it is forced, it's not so much fun. Let us continue. Krishna goes on. He says, Shaknoti haiva yaha sodhum praksharira vimokshanat kama krodod bhavam vegam sa yuktaha sa sukhi naraha. Krishna says, he who is able to bear and sustain the rush of anger and the gush of desire, in this very birth itself, he shall obtain the highest realization of bliss that man can acquire. How simple it is getting the highest realization. Krishna says, who is it who is capable? He who is able to bear and sustain the rush of anger and the gush of desire. Not somebody who is not, he's not experiencing desire or he's not experiencing anger. No, everybody is going to experience because we are all made of a jada deha. We are a part of Prakriti. We are a part of, we have all these emotions and everything. They are going to come. Moments of anger will come. Moments of desire will come to us. We are not stones. We are not robots. We are living, breathing individuals. But what is going to make us the yogi? Well, if you are able to bear and sustain the rush of anger. How does anger come in? It comes in an instant, isn't it? Suddenly, how dare this person or how dare you do it or this is injustice. I cannot tolerate it anymore. Suddenly, when that happens, that aspect is has to be controlled. And the gush of desire, it's like Vega is there. Vega is the force. Like the river flows with one Vega, the wind flows with a Vega. That is how anger and desire flow into our life. And some of the best lives have got ruined just because they have not been able to control. If you look at our worst moments of life also, somewhere anger, somewhere desire has caused that uncontrolled anger, uncontrolled desire, either in us or in another person. And we have been the receiver of that. Don't you agree with this aspect? It happens instantaneously, isn't it? Yes?
Yes.
If those moments alone, if we had control, maybe the moment would have been different, isn't it? Just in that moment, that moment. But the yogi only can control. That is probably why we have to do yoga sadhana. Interestingly, it looks like Krishna is trying to make everybody yogis. But the yogi he is going to make is going to be like a Janaka. Maybe not from the outside, may not be visible. These yogis are functioning everywhere, and I have also had the opportunity of meeting some of them in various fields and various kshetras. On the outside, we do not see, but they are part of the world, and our world is running basically because of what yajna they are all doing. That sacrifice, which is not fully understood or recognized. Krishna goes on, such a person who is able to control these two can experience the highest realization. He goes on further, he says, Yo antah sukhontaraatmanastarat yo an yo antah sukhontararamastha antarjyotireva yaha sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuto gacchati. One who experiences the bliss of the inner self and also sees the light kindled within oneself. The yogi who realizes a state of divine extinction merges into the Brahma, gaining that absolute dissolution, ultimately what we call the Brahma Nirvana, that person is able to actually experience, he's going to become one. The highest realization that Krishna is saying, ultimately that person will reach. Who is that person who is able to see the light kindled within oneself by experiencing the Ananda? It's like standing in front of a mirror and being able to laugh and smile. If you are able to, give that Virat Hasya when you are looking at the mirror, laugh with a great Ananda, maybe you are able to see something which was already aspired by so many people and they are not able to see. The yogi is able to understand, he's able to understand the divine. There was a beautiful quote attributed to the Buddha I had heard about when I was in college without really much of an idea. It said, when you realize how perfect everything is, you will tilt your head and laugh at the sky. It sounded crazy to me, especially because in my life that time I didn't feel anything was perfect. Everything is imperfect, nothing was right. But I was like, what is this that he has realized that he's going to laugh and that to laugh at the sky? Who laughs at the sky? Only a madman laughs at the sky, is what I thought that time. But it's about this realization, about realization. Sometimes you will realize even the falls are also created for a purpose. My falls were so that I could rise again. And if you realize that, no more will you be disturbed by that outer circumstance because you are understanding a conscious growth. We go through our life from childhood. What happens? Does our childhood die? No, it is part of us. Different aspects we are experiencing and going and progressing towards something. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, all these become one when you are able to see that samatha with that oneness. Here, Krishna is talking about realizing, and that realizing of that light, the divinity inside of you, you are only able to see it. Sant Tukaram had said that. Yes, Chaitanya ji, you were saying something. Yes,
Yeah,
please.
actually, I was just asking. I mean, I was just thinking
Yeah,
on what you have explained in
yeah,
last two shlokas. So I was just
yes.
thinking why things in Prakriti, I mean, like anger, desires, and all the bad
Ah,
things have been kept so easy to achieve. I mean, easy to get when Prakriti has been created by divine itself, and the realization and everything is not very
difficult.
easy to. Yeah, I mean, it is difficult, right? I mean, if
Yes,
I'm a
yes,
god, I'm a
yes.
creator, I think I would give, I mean, I will give good things chance first rather than, difficult,
Ah,
making it difficult to achieve.
absolutely, absolutely. But now, if we see, Chaitanya ji, in a 100-meter race, finish point should be at the end of the 100 meter, or should it be in the first to 5 meters?
No, yes, that is right. I mean, eventually
Yeah,
you reach
eventually it
there.
does.
Yeah, but I mean, it is
But
you
it's a
understand, right? It is
mystery, isn't
difficult
it?
to, yeah. I mean, it is difficult to
Why?
yeah.
क्यों यार straight नहीं? Why is it?
Huh,
This
I
why
mean,
all
why
of?
why not simple and straight rather
It's
than
like
making
why
it so
even
difficult?
sometimes Satyajit, we feel if you see a choice is given to human beings, no, to rise higher or go lower. Is there a guarantee that human beings will take the choice which will take them higher?
No, no, no. I mean,
No,
that is why
isn't.
that pull is always there, right? That pull of
Yes, that pull
maybe,
is always
yeah.
there. So to remove that pull, do you think God should remove the choice?
No, no, I'm not saying he should remove
Yes,
the
we
choice. I'm
cannot.
just
We
saying that
cannot,
pull,
no?
yeah, 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 exactly. But
It's
that
like
pull
a
is
it's like a
very
divine
strong, I think.
experiment. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, probably. We will see later because Krishna talks about it. He says about Prakriti also. He describes this surrealness of the nature also. Later on in the Gita, he's going to talk about it, this aspect.
yeah,
So it's like, but we can say if we want to see in the state of compared to Ananda, what is what we call Nira or what is this sorrow? What is all of this? It is like a distortion, isn't it?
correct, correct. But yeah, yeah. I mean, the what normally I think is happening is that we are getting that, essential happiness or short-lived
Yeah.
happiness first, and that is,
Yes.
and the probably the human nature or the way Prakriti is built. From what I'm getting is that unless you experience that other Ananda, which is Chidananda, you are
Yeah.
not actually going to, you will not be able to actually, easily let these things go away.
Yes.
So I think that is where I think everything is getting trapped. That we are not there, but you have to, keep believing and work towards it until you
Yes.
achieve that. But till then, the path becomes difficult
And
because of this pull.
yes, and you will experience because it is, and the moments come actually because the moment to that choice, no, that moment is always there. It is up to us. Sometimes, it's like, it's very beautiful that that aspect of freedom is completely given to our hands. it is actually what we can say. It is like the father is allowing the child to cycle and fall and get hurt also, and not though standing and watching is not trying to come and help the child. Why? Probably the child will feel the father is heartless, the father is cruel. Why is the father not? He's watching from far. He's still having that stoic smile on his face, watching me cycle. But I fell. See, I got hurt. I'm wounded. I'm bleeding, and he's still not rushing right now. Because probably he says, no, let him get up. He'll have to learn. Today I am watching. Tomorrow, if I'm not watching, if this child falls, nobody is there to pick up. How is he going to? I want him to become stronger or something like that. We'll have to see what is it. But yes, there is a distortion definitely. And as Chaitanya said, until we realize it, we will not see. And that is why the dissatisfaction also comes in. No? You keep seeking the same thing again and again, and then suddenly the Ananda doesn't come afterwards and you become dissatisfied. Isn't it, Chaitanya ji?
Correct. I mean, that inspiration then dies, I think, that if
Yes,
it doesn't come.
yes, yes, yes. So just this satisfaction has come. Kya hai, this is not fun. This is no more fun. A friend of mine, he really drank and smoked a lot in college despite everybody telling him don't do it. Because he was not going to listen to anybody. Then one day he started coughing out blood. That day onwards, next day, he started telling everybody, pray to God, pray to God, pray to God. And he started growing a big beard also. While in college only, he was trying to grow. And he was like, no, 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 remember, remember. There is no God, but His God, and everybody are going to get cursed. I have understood. You all follow my religion, is what he started doing. Very opposite of what he was doing earlier. But at least for getting that realization, whatever he had to first experience all of it. So nature is actually very, if we are subtle, if we are aware, if we are conscious, nature is leading us towards the path, and it need not be a path of thorns only. It need not be that. But when we are attached, then it is like the forces are clashing with each other, and you have to experience a little bit more suffering. Yes, let us continue. But that was a wonderful point raised by Chaitanya ji. We will look at it when we look at the Purusha, Prakriti. Krishna also talks about, he calls this mystery of his universe. He goes on further. Labante Brahma Nirvanam Rushaya Shina Kalmashaha Sinnadvaidha Yatatmanaha Sarvabhuta Hiterataha. When this extinction into the Brahma is attained, for those sages, a redemption is gained. These illumined masters with minds free of uncertainty, their every work done for the good of all becomes charity. This is the dana of a person who has reached that state of consciousness. Every action leads to loka sangraha. Why? This person is now connected with the Loka only, complete Vishwa. He has ceased to exist as a separate individual with personal desires. He has become connected with the divine in the universe. He's able to access the wisdom of the universe, and his actions also are from that higher perspective. So it's not selfish. He's not trying anything for himself. So his little actions lead to betterment of the world also. Every action for the betterment of mankind. There was a saying attributed, I think it was the mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashram. She talked about if at all the French Revolution took place, it was because there was a man on Indian snows meditating upon liberty, equality, and fraternity. Hence, the yogis are able to bring about occult transformations in the Srishti also by virtue of their connect. But that is one very esoteric knowledge which is not understood or known by many. Krishna goes on, he says, Kama Krodha Vayuktatma Vayuktanam Yatinam Yatachetasam Abhito Brahma Nirvanam Vardate Viditatmanam. The sages of the awakened self are liberated and free, for in their minds no desire or wrath can unconquered be. For within themselves the nirvana of Brahma they withhold, and around them this realization in all directions they unfold. These sages, they have reached that state. Then Brahma Nirvana, they are like beacons and torches. What happens when you carry a torch in the darkness? Anybody? In pitch darkness when you walk. Yes, Karthik ji. Yes, sir.
You light up the path not only for yourself but for the others around as well.
And in all directions, isn't it?
All directions.
Spreads. This is the aura of what we call those who have received that nirvana. Have you experienced, Sir Karthik, about this aura of people?
Yes, absolutely.
Any example you can share? Examples for just somewhere where you felt it.
Yes, there are a lot of people when you meet, you get this aura of, sometimes you get this positivity that
All
you can
right.
actually, I mean, there is,
Where
you
any
have this
example
aura of
you can
positivity.
share? Any example where it was a business meeting or it was something else, or where was it that you experienced it?
Yes, quite some time ago, there was a client that I had met for the first time.
Okay.
It's almost 10 years since we've been working with them.
Wow.
And first few meetings was it was very interactive as compared to any other meeting.
So you got a
So,
glimpse, कि चलो, this is something which
yes,
is
and
different.
the vibe was very, very positive. The aura, the atmosphere, it's not just around that individual, but just around him, the in his office, it was a very positive atmosphere. The conversations, one thing led to the other, and
Okay.
there was just that positive vibe led
Positive aspect. And yes,
to a lot of
yes.
growth
All right,
in
Karthik.
just
So,
a few
and
meetings.
all right. And this, everybody has an aura, isn't it that way? Some of them you're like, I do not want to be in this aura for one moment also, isn't it? Some places you want for longer. Absolutely. And thank you, Karthik,
And
for sharing.
this wasn't an elderly person or a
Uh-huh.
middle-aged person. This was actually a young guy, a young boy. So
Okay. Okay.
it was a refreshing
Yes. So,
aura to it was
all
refreshing
right.
to find an aura like that from a young person.
And you did not think it would go so many years, isn't it? Right? In the first time, you would not know, but you get that feeling. Yes. All right. I think, yes, it is there everywhere. Like now, if you're talking about business, Damleji's relations with USA since 1990, not a written contract has been made. And yet, so many years of relation experts are happening without a written contract in today's day and age. How is it even possible? No, it's a trust, and they understand each other. And at that time, they used to only, there was fax and other things they used to use for communication. Then it was email. I learned how to write looking at the emails of Damleji, because he would say, let the first part of the letter, second part, each. He said, even the mail has a value. You have to, there are a lot is conveyed between the words also. You have to understand it, and you have to also convey it. That was a beautiful relation where the other person also was receptive. And like Karthik ji says, yes, in business also, in any other transaction also, or even in any interaction that is taking place, the aura plays a role. But the yogis are those whose aura is actually brilliant light, absolute light. It is spreading in all directions. It was said the aura of Buddha would go to kilometers. A peace would be felt by everybody. Maybe two people are quarreling and suddenly they realize there's no need to quarrel and their quarrel stops. Why? Maybe some that aura was passing around that place just while the Buddha was going on a pilgrimage or somewhere. So this aspect of aura is there. And Krishna says, these ones who have become free, their minds, you see, no desire, no wrath. They have connected with the higher state. And this, in all directions, they unfold this. Yes, Karthik ji wants to say something.
We
Yes.
can also feel the positive aura from you through, even though
It is,
we
I
are
think,
connected through.
Gita and Krishna makes it happen. Yes, sir. So, all right, sir. Thank you. Hari Om. So, this aspect, like one more example, we had rules shared by Dr. Abdul Kalam. His aura was very magnetic. If anybody has been in his some meeting where he's present, the way he would attract people, he was not a political figure at all. Not because of political affiliation. He was a scientist, and he had a very interesting tone also of speaking. But his words would attract people so much that I think when he had gone to, it was Singapore or Malaysia, I think it was Malaysia, if I'm not mistaken, the president told us that you are more popular than me in this place. It's more than the president of the country. People had come to see Dr. Abdul Kalam. And this was told by none other than his advisor only. Arun Tiwari, who wrote Wings of Fire. We were very fortunate in the last batch. Arun Tiwari had come for one session. But what he had talked about was something very interesting. His first experience of Kalam, sir, like now Karthik ji said, no, the first meeting of someone you understand. He said they were in the DRDO lab. He was sitting in the lab and he was doing some study. And not a library. In the library, they were doing some reading, and suddenly one figure walked. Pin drop silence. He didn't know who this person was, but he was surprised seeing the silence around, and silence suddenly spread like it was a ripple everywhere. And he asked his friend, "Who is this person?" That, "Hey, he's our new HOD. Our new HOD. He has already worked with some missile launching aspects. He has already achieved so much." That was his first understanding. Afterwards, one day, Kalam sir only spotted him working on metallurgy and reading on metallurgy, which something not everybody was reading. He called him and he said, "I want you to do this research." And later on, he ended up developing one new alloy in India at a time where this technology and innovation was not there at all. India was not a hub of this. Again, he says afterwards, for him, for Arun Tiwari ji, Kalam sir is no less than a guru. And we say, yeah, what we can say, Dhyana Moolam, Guru Murtim, Puja Moolam, Guru Padam, Mantra Moolam, Gurur Vakyam. Means after a successful missile launch, the Guru said, go into now enough of this, use this missile defense technology, use it for developing some civil developments. And he said, in medical field, it is too expensive for common man. Use this knowledge for developing something for the medical field. Now, where is medical field? Where is mechanical engineering? Where is missile? Where is medical application? They look opposite, isn't it? But now you see Shraddha of the Shishya in his Guru, Shraddha in a different Kshetra also. He is taking away his Dvandva, divide. I am not from this is beyond me, this is not capable. And he ended up developing India's first coronary stent along with a cardiologist. He called it Kalam Raju stent. And what I'm trying to say is these are the beings. These beings, when they have connected, they have raised in their consciousness. They spread that aura, and that aura empowers others as well. Bhishma, in the first adhyay, we see Bhishma's aura made even heroes feel stronger. That was the aura of Bhishma. So there is something. Now, my last question is, do we have an aura then? All of us also. Yes? Can we measure it? Or can we assume, like now, if we were to draw a circle of our consciousness, right now we can say it is in our room. Even if somebody who is not directly in your visual range, if the person is moving around, you can sense the presence, isn't it? You can say that's an aura. But my question is, can we extend our aura? When we talked about Buddha, his aura going up to kilometers. Yes, is it possible? Anybody? Is it possible to extend it?
Yes, it is possible when we reach that state, sir,
When we
of
reach that state.
consciousness. Yeah.
Then is there a way, is there a technique how we can reach that?
If we follow whatever Krishna has said,
All right, what we follow, Krishna says. All right, Sindhuji says yes. Okay, Karthik ji is saying something. Yes.
Is it possible through positive deeds?
Yes, through positive deeds and also through dhyana. And Krishna is actually going to share two techniques of dhyana, which are very silently and secretly put into the Gita. It's like blink and a miss. Two techniques of dhyana are said, but at least one we can understand the need for dhyana. Dhyana is required. We are doing great deeds also, but we need a state of mind, isn't it? Even while doing action, meditation is possible. Call it dynamic meditation. While you are doing the action also. An artist drawing a beautiful painting, drawing a beautiful sketch or making a beautiful painting, playing with the colors. Can meditation be done while doing art? Yes, yes, yes. And then the art displays the real artist who was behind the artist and holding the brush of that. Because I remember one Didi had made a beautiful painting of Krishna. I don't know who she was. It was in a Bhagwad Gita exhibition conducted by Sri Aurobindo Ashram, and I was lucky. I don't know how. I'm not an artist, but I got a chance somehow. Krishna's grace to be part of it. And so many beautiful artworks on the Gita, beautiful paintings were there. But and I was in a rush because I was not having the time to sit and even appreciate what is going on. We were all running around, moving out. But every time I went in front of one painting, my hand would go like this because it was so beautiful. And as I went deeper, all Gita shlokas are also engraved inside, hidden inside of the painting. I'll try to share that photo. I'll find it if I can in the group. But when I later realized I want to connect with this author just to do namaskar and say thank you for that beautiful artwork. And later on, I found out that person was a Krishna Bhakt only. See, the art is speaking, isn't it? The stamp of the divine is there. And we could understand the personality there. So, yes, when through art also, through little actions, every action can become as an offering to the divine, can become a meditation, and you can experience that ananda. Then the artist will also experience it, the perceiver will also experience it. And that is something. And dhyana is one of the ways to become more conscious, more aware, which will make our actions also what we can call divine. So tomorrow we'll look at the two techniques, one after the other. If the second one, if time permits, otherwise it will come in the next adhyaya. So we will right now we'll conclude. If somebody can just summarize something that we saw today, we'll conclude with the Shanti mantra. Yes, please. Yes, Ratik ji is saying something, or Chaitanya ji, or anybody? Yes.
Sure, Shraddha.
Yes, ji. Yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we started with Krishna explaining that the cloak of ignorance actually prevents the realization. Actually, it prevents us from getting to that knowledge, which is like bright sun going to remove all the darkness from within. Enlightened minds actually focus on divine and themselves, and they traverse to a state of consciousness from where they don't return. Once they reach that state, they don't come back from there because they become one with the Brahma's consciousness or Brahman. I think here Shri Krishna also described the importance of samatha bhav. Once you are in that consciousness, you start seeing oneness in everywhere in the world, and that divide disappears. That is important. Then we also talked about, I mean, Krishna also talked about when this realization can be attained. You don't have to wait for many births to pass. You can actually do it in this world and in this very birth itself. Once you start moving in that on that journey, it is possible to achieve in this birth as well. Then we talked about some qualities of these illumined minds, that once they are conscious, they don't really rejoice too much when they receive good things, or they don't become sad when they don't get what they had, and maybe did when the needs are not fulfilled. So in both cases, they remain balanced, and beyond all this sensual, what do you say, happiness, or which are actually short-lived, there is a Akshaya Ananda which comes once you merge with once your consciousness merges with the divine, and that is a permanent Ananda that we can say. You don't come back from that, and you don't and also these that's the reason these conscious minds don't keep running behind the desires, because they understand that they are kind of stimuli of their indriyas, and they are going to last for only a short period of time. So that's why they try to achieve that Akshaya Ananda, and not the small pleasures that come via senses. And with this realization, I think their actions become the divine actions. Their actions become dedicated to the betterment of the world, and they kind of achieve Brahma from within. And then we talked about them spreading that light and aura to other people for their betterment.
Yes. All right. Chaitanya ji, Hari Om. Thank you for beautiful summary. Yes, it is this. So probably we should all become representatives, isn't it, of the divine in our acharan. When Krishna says yat yat acharati shrestha, they become the example. And Krishna says, see, why do I do this? Why am I doing all of this when it's not required for me? Because he says, I want to lead people to their happiness. It is for the sake of the world, for Loka Sangraha. So if not for ourselves, not for a personal liberation, not for an individual liberation, for a cosmic, collective realization. Because again, our last prayer is also what? Sarve bhavantu sukhina. It appears niswarthi, but it is also a little bit swarthi in a way, isn't it? When will I be happy? When those around me are happy. If my sister is not happy, if my brother is not happy, if some relative is not happy, what's going to happen? It's going to, I will not be able to experience my ananda. So that's such a understood, wonderful aspect. Making the world better. Our life experience also becomes better, isn't it? When we seek Loka Sangra, our life also gets transformed. But it is not absolute selfishness. It is something else. But we are connected with the world, and that is why here also one very interesting aspect is Ehaiva Sargo. It is Krishna says Ehaiva, here itself. This is the beauty of the Gita. In this birth, in this world, spirituality and material world, they are not different. Krishna is trying to fuse it because Arjuna 2 times, 3 times Krishna said this. He still could not understand because it is a tendency. Because one is infinite, isn't it? Other is a finite. I am going to look at my emotions, my experiences, and suddenly, what is this? If I have to experience that, I have to discard this. That is a general tendency. You take spiritual path, you have to reject material path. But here, Krishna is talking about divinizing the material world. That is why this is what we call terrestrial realization. Sri Aurobindo had beautifully talked about it. So that is what is the aspiration. So let us see what Krishna says about the techniques. But what is going to be interesting is Arjuna. Because so far Arjuna has turned out to be quite, what we can say, funny in his interpretations. Everything Krishna says, he has been saying, no, you said like this, you said like that. When he said, I thought the Surya, I said, how? It doesn't work logically. I don't buy that argument of yours. I don't understand. We will see what Arjuna is going to say. Hopefully, Arjuna should start asking the right questions quickly. So we get to hear quickly from Krishna because it is an opportunity to hear yoga or the way of yoga from the Yogeshwar Krishna himself. That is why the Gita is a great scripture for transformation of the world. So let us conclude with a Shanti mantra. Hari Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyit dukha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tatsat. Krishna Mande Jagatgurum. Jai Shri Krishna. We'll see you tomorrow. If anybody has any queries, you are welcome. Or we'll conclude with a Shanti mantra. Yes, please. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari
Hari
Om.
Hari Om.
Om Shanti. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om Ji. Namaste.